No, this is perfectly reliable. Whatever she says will certainly not absolve Donald Trump because, they preordained it. It'll absolve Trump because it's the truth. Remember when I said that Ghislaine Maxwell is probably going to get a pardon? And then everyone was like, there's no way. That seems fucking insane. And it turns out that's exactly what we are moving towards. New, Ghislaine Maxwell, whose source told ABC News, initiated the meetings with the Department of Justice, answered questions for about 9 hours over 2 days after being granted a limited form of immunity. The so-called proffer immunity is commonly granted to individuals prosecutors are seeking to make cooperators in a criminal case. Maxwell has already been tried, convicted, and sentenced for sex trafficking underage girls. Ghislaine Maxwell just gave the DOJ info on 100 different people, according to her lawyer. Wee woo, wee woo. So this is just immunity within the discovery process, but I feel like there are additional immunities that are on the pipeline. Donald Trump earlier today actually said, "I have the power to pardon her if I want to." This is what Charlie Kirk wanted. Charlie Kirk proposes offering Ghislaine Maxwell something in exchange for the testimony regarding Epstein. Maxwell is currently sentenced to 20 years in federal prison for sex trafficking, but is pursuing a claim that her trial was unfair. Maybe some kind of deal could be reached for information. Oh my God. Oh my God. They are literally going to cook the books. Oh my God. Guys, Ghislaine Maxwell wasn't just a criminal party to the conspiracy to sex traffic minors. She also was an assaulter of minors herself, according to victim testimony. Okay, witness testimony as well, but victim testimony. Okay, she was doing the things. She was right there with Jeffrey Epstein doing the same crimes as Jeffrey Epstein. The fact that this administration, who's supposed to be anti-pedophilia, is now going to give her a fucking sentence commutation in exchange for whatever kind of information that she's going to be giving them that is favorable to the administration's side, while simultaneously they refuse to reveal what the discovery showed, what the investigations into all of the financial dealings between Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and numerous other third parties. The fact that they are actively sheltering the public from knowing who the other co-conspirators were, while simultaneously leaving it up to an famously unreliable orator who herself has perjured on numerous occasions to defend other co-conspirators like Prince Andrews, and even perjured to defend herself, to lie to defend herself, and then famously got convicted anyway, in spite of her perjury, is crazy. This is Newsmax has begun referring to Ghislaine Maxwell as a victim. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's happening. It's already happening.
Now, Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer has confirmed they are in discussions with the federal government about holding discussions. Maxwell is currently sentenced to 20 years in federal prison for sex trafficking, but is pursuing a claim that her trial was unfair. Since she is still contesting her own case, that may impact what she is ready to tell prosecutors. But maybe some kind of a deal could be reached for information. We will see. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer has confirmed they are in discussions with the federal government about holding discussions. Maxwell is currently sentenced to 20.
What the fuck? Holy shit. Yeah. I mean, I guess Jeffrey Epstein was a victim too. You know? Fuck it. Everyone's a victim. Ghislaine Maxwell is the fucking ringleader. What are we talking about? She was the second in command in the pedophilia sex trafficking operation. What are we talking about? It's wild to me that this administration simultaneously keeps saying like every undocumented migrant is like a rapist pedophile that needs to be forcibly excised from the land and sent to a concentration camp surrounded by fucking alligators. Okay. Meanwhile, you have one of the most notorious pedophile sex traffickers who's in prison, and they're like, we should release her because her testimony will be favorable to our side. Like, I know that a lot of people don't care about hypocrisy. No one really cares about hypocrisy, but this is like this might perhaps be a bridge too far. You know? I feel like this is definitely like, this is, potentially releasing a pedophile sex trafficker while simultaneously calling her a victim is definitely a fucking bridge too far, man. What are we doing here? What the hell is going on?
Been subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee. I think this is great. I do have a feeling that she just might be a victim. She just might be. There was a rush to judgment. There was a lot of chaos there for a while. All right. Granted, she hung out with Jeffrey Epstein. And I know that's apparently not good, but she's in jail.
Apparently that's not good. She's a victim. She might be a victim. Yeah, Charles Manson, simply a victim, If Ghislaine Maxwell is a victim, even though she was convicted for sex trafficking minors, procuring minors for sex trafficking, and also participating in the acts herself, in the criminal acts herself. If she is a victim, who is the perpetrator? Jeffrey Dahmer, real victim here. Who amongst us hasn't been hungry? That type of shit. Yeah, she was a victim of her own success. Yeah, Harvey Weinstein, a real victim. They're dabbing on us, folks. Oh, no, for sure. This is 100%. They are. At this point, it's pretty obvious. It's like, if you are incredibly wealthy, if you're a wealthy elite, if you're a socialite, the media, or at least the right wing as it stands currently, will do everything in their power to fucking liberate you. Yeah, the child victims are obviously the ones that we need to jail. Yeah. What incentive do news media or right-wing influencers have running cover for Maxwell or Trump at this point? Is it just to say that on Trump's good side because they think he's invincible? Are they not fucked if the base does not end up turning on him? The incentive here is clear. Donald Trump wants to pack this up. Okay? And he realizes that there's blood in the water, and a lot of people are very angry and resentful in his own base of support for refusing to refusing to reveal some of this information. And now they're asking questions about how much Trump was involved with Jeffrey Epstein. So considering that there is plenty of financial dealings and plenty of ties that the Trump administration would not want to be revealed because they want to protect societal elites, regardless of party politics, they most likely are looking for an out here. Okay? They're looking for an out for Trump. And it's clear to me that through the pardoning or sentence commutation process, Ghislaine Maxwell will very clearly play ball with the admin and offer them that out. Especially because there's nothing to check Ghislaine's testimony against. Because we don't have access. We're not privy to this information that was discovered in the process of her conviction. That's the reason why people want this information to be out there. Do you understand? So if she is the only sole surviving person that can offer testimony to who she and Jeffrey Epstein were involved with, and we don't have any access, and they will never release the materials that actually, expand on that, the materials that they could use to check her testimony against, then she is the primary narrator here to her own criminal behavior. And because she has an incentive to lie and to defend Donald Trump here very clearly, she's going to take this opportunity to say whatever the fuck Trump wants. They're going to get her to say the only people involved with Epstein were the Clintons and Bill Gates. Trump wasn't involved, and in exchange she'll be commuted or pardoned, and Trump will be absolved among his base. I don't think so. I think there will be definitely more people in Trump's base that will be on board with this now, because it's like they desperately want to hang on to anything that makes Trump look good here. There is that sense of desperation that's setting in, especially right now when Trump actively keeps saying, shut up about Jeffrey Epstein, don't talk about it. And these guys are like, but please, sir, give us something. Like the Alex Joneses of the world are like, please give us something. What the fuck are you saying? What the fuck are you doing? Why do you keep calling us idiots for caring about this thing that you said we should care about? It's making me kind of feel like you might have been a pedophile dealing with Jeffrey Epstein yourself, right?
Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if
It's something I haven't thought about. It's really something.
Recommended
It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
But you wouldn't rule it out, sir?
Why has the dollar?
He literally said he's like, I'm allowed to do it. I could pardon her if I want to.
For Ghislaine Maxwell,
It's something I haven't thought about. It's really something.
Recommended
It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
I'm allowed to do it. I haven't thought about it. He has thought about it. In your estimation, how does this end? I mean, there are numerous different ways that this could go. I think that Ghislaine Maxwell comes out and basically gives like a couple fucking random, irrelevant, powerless people ultimately as like major players, presents them as like major power players, right? I suspect that it'll be heavily ideologically slanted in Trump's favor, you know, like Democrats, only Democrats, or maybe dead ones, right? Like you can throw a lot of allegations in the way of the dead. Some of them will be real clients as well, for sure, right? Yeah, his new strategy is to say, look at Bill Clinton or the president of Harvard, which, by the way, Bill Clinton is involved. So there will be some real people that actually did get involved with Jeffrey Epstein. But the real reason as to why Ghislaine Maxwell will offer this testimony is to basically absolve Donald Trump of wrongdoing, because like that's the only thing he cares about. So I think that's what's going to happen here. Look, Trump on Epstein. You should focus on Clinton. You should focus on the president of Harvard, the former president of Harvard. You guys should focus on some of the hedge fund guys. I'll give you a list. These guys live with Jeffrey Epstein. I sure as hell didn't.
Who's eager to get out of prison?
Well, you know, he's a professional lawyer. I think he's been through.
Yeah, unlike you, those guys are keeping quiet because they know their level of involvement, which is high. But you are the one who is the president, and you are the one who literally said there was no list and then said, oh, the list is actually a Democrat hoax. And now you're saying there is a list. Now that Ghislaine Maxwell is ready to fucking compromise some people, all of a sudden there's a list again? You're just giving up names from this list? Which, by the way, he's not even wrong. Because, as I've said time and time again from the beginning of this story, pedophilia is a bipartisan endeavor amongst the elite, okay? It is not like a Republican or Democrat issue. It is objectively bipartisan. Yeah, it's uniparty. It's like defending Israel's uniparty, constantly finding more money in the couch cushions for the military's uniparty, and of course, the pedophilic acts is bipartisan and uniparty amongst our elite. So, or sex crimes in general. But doesn't this go back to the mutually assured destruction? If he snitches, they will take him down with them. We'll see. That's why I think it won't be like anyone super significant. There are two competing interests here. Not conflicting, but competing interests here. Trump wants something that has meat, okay? Trump wants a name that the base will laser in on, you know? Something that holds weight, like a Bill Clinton, okay? But also, if you go after someone like Bill Clinton and he holds the cards here, he knows the secrets, he can then turn around and counter nuke, right? As I've said from the start, it's mutually assured pedophile destruction. So if Trump releases a nuclear alt against someone like Bill Clinton or Bill Gates, then they can turn around and launch it themselves to be like, what the fuck? I saw you at the party. You know what I mean? The Trump administration is incredibly incompetent, which means there's still an opportunity for them to fuck this up. So even if they try, even if they desperately try and try to create like a narrative that will at least like soothe the interests of the masses, the MAGA base, there is a very high likelihood. There is a very high likelihood that they can still fuck up on the delivery side and make this an even larger story. So I'm banking on that, as a matter of fact. I think that will be a major part of this.
Things like this before, but you know, you should focus on Clinton. You should focus on the president of Harvard, the former president of Harvard. You should focus on some of the hedge fund guys. I'll give you a list. These guys lived with Jeffrey Epstein. I sure as hell didn't. Thank you very much. Mr. President, should not be part of the president.
I sure as hell didn't live with Jeffrey Epstein. I simply sent him beautiful letters. Beautiful, beautiful letters. Beautiful letters. We share secrets. Many secrets. Ooh, mystery. Yeah, pro Fox camera work here. Pro camera work from Fox here. Trump can't keep up with his lies. Ooh, I love this. I love this when he says like dumb shit. Trump, July 15th, a very quick briefing. Yeah. Trump, July 25th. No, I was never briefed. No.
The Attorney General briefed you on the DOJ and FBI review, the findings of that review. The Attorney General briefed you on that.
What? On the
DOJ and FBI
on what?
review.
On what subject?
Epstein.
Okay.
On Epstein, of the review of the files. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
A very quick briefing.
Did she brief on your name appearing in the Epstein files ever?
No, I was never briefed. No.
Did you ask House?
On Epstein, the Attorney General briefed you on the DOJ and FBI review, the findings of that review. The Attorney
New Trump Epstein photo just dropped. This one featuring James Brown via New York Times. Is the Trump presidency like the one might's power transferred only instead of superpower? It's Alzheimer of the Biden kind. All presidency is like all might's power. It's just everyone is Brandonized going forward. Brandon was the original, and he is now transferring the presidential seat with all of the accompanying problems. James Brown said the CIA spied on him. The CIA won't say what. Yeah, we still have more. We still have more of this Epstein saga to continue because like every day there's like more leaks coming out.
This morning, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has more questions for Jeffrey Epstein's former companion, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Do you have anything to say today?
Sources told ABC News Maxwell initiated the meeting as she appeals her conviction and tries to get out of a 20-year prison sentence. Her attorney told us she answered every question.
What kind of questions? Well, we don't want to get into the substance of the questions. There were a lot of questions, and we went all day, and she answered every one of them. She never just said, I'm not going to answer, never declined.
It's almost unheard of for a convicted sex trafficker to meet with such a high-ranking Justice Department official, the one who used to be the president's top criminal defense attorney.
Wow.
If this meeting were just...
Wow. Isn't that crazy? The president's lawyer is now the deputy attorney general. And as the president's lawyer, now the deputy attorney general, he is the one in charge of listening to the testimony of Ghislaine Maxwell. No, this is perfectly reliable. Whatever she says will certainly not absolve Donald Trump because they preordained it. It'll absolve Trump because it's the truth. It's simply the truth. It's simply the truth that Trump had no involvement whatsoever. And I guess basically what they will say, what I suspect Ghislaine Maxwell will say is, given that there is extensive relationships that are obviously out and about, out in public between Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, the only way out of this that absolves Donald Trump is say that Trump stopped talking to Jeffrey Epstein in 2003 and then never had any contact whatsoever. I do not think Ghislaine is going to come out and be like, Trump was literally fucking kids with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, there's just not going to happen, okay? I don't think that she is going to reveal any new information, and I think she is going to perjure herself again and again, but this time she has all of the opportunity to perjure herself. She has every opportunity to lie. She has an incentive to lie. And she is probably going through the readily available information right now to figure out exactly how to lie so that it can't be contradicted by publicly available information. Do you understand? And now we know, according to Spectator Index, like according to New York Post, not the most reliable, but she was given a document box yesterday, and today she has delivered 100 different people linked to Jeffrey Epstein, according to New York Post.
Just to find out, does she have any information on anyone else who potentially should be indicted? Well, you would think that the Deputy Attorney General would have other prosecutors there with him who actually tried the case. He doesn't. And that does lead to the question, is this a legal meeting or is this a political meeting?
Maxwell was convicted of enabling Epstein's abuse of women and girls.
Dude, like, there have been so many moments that the Republicans have been able to expertly weaponize because they were fucking illicit and maybe borderline illegal. Okay? Do you remember when Bill Clinton did that private jet thing with, who was it? I think it was like the Attorney General Loretta Lynch. Yeah. Do you remember when the Attorney General's meeting with Bill Clinton in late June forced the FBI to distance itself from the Justice Department, the Bureau's director said? Like, that was crazy. That tarmac interaction that they had. Bill Clinton's in a private jet, Loretta Lynch is in a private jet, and they get out and they have like a 1-minute meeting on the tarmac. Okay? Which was abso-fucking-lutely inappropriate. And the Republicans used that into oblivion. They were like, oh, remember this? This is crazy. I can't believe Bill Clinton's doing this. And they had every right to do so. Right? Because this was illicit. It was totally and utterly ridiculous. It was preposterous that they did that. Okay? But what Donald Trump is doing right now by sending his own personal attorney to have closed-door private fucking meetings as the Deputy Attorney General with a major criminal like Ghislaine Maxwell is an incredibly large conflict of interest. It is so much more out and about. Like, it's out there. It's right there. It's open corruption. And yet, people are not even making a big fuss about it partially because it's Trump, and what are you going to do? It's just how he plays ball, right? But it's right there. As chatters have said already, they're dabbing on us, okay? They are dabbing on us. They're saying, fuck you. What are you going to do about it, bitch? They're flexing. Loretta Lynch is Attorney General having a private meeting with Bill Clinton while they're in the process of looking into Hillary Clinton's butter email scandals is ridiculous. But the Republicans were incredibly effective in playing politics and made this a major story at the time. They used it. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has been personally throwing himself out there every day looking like a fucking insanely suspicious criminal directly affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein. And that's the only reason why we're talking about it. It's not because the Democrats are actively pushing for it. Okay? The only reason why we're talking about it is because Trump keeps floundering. He keeps trying to get out of this story, and he's doing a horrible job. That's the only reason why it hasn't been swept under the rug. Democrats barely are hanging on to the story and barely pushing it. Every Democrat should be screaming about this to be like, what are we doing? Donald Trump's personal attorney? Donald Trump's personal attorney is now the Deputy Attorney General and is having a private meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell after weeks of inconsistent statements coming from Donald Trump about the list was fake, but there is a list, but the list was made by Democrats. And now there is a list, but it wasn't made by the Democrats. Now that they suspiciously have, now that they're suspiciously talking to Ghislaine Maxwell in closed door settings. Chuck did mention it, to be fair. No, actually, as a matter of fact, I'm talking precisely about Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer yesterday tweeted out something, okay? And I think that's really funny that he tweeted this out, even though he didn't personally tweet it out. Someone else must have tweeted it out because Chuck Schumer famously does not have a smartphone. He's very proud of not having a smartphone, so obviously he's not the one tweeting shit out. Someone in his team is. And the tweet was something along the lines of like, it's completely unacceptable for the president to have a closed door meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. Like basically what I'm saying, right? What I was saying is like completely ridiculous. He does converse with the Baileys without a phone. Yes. Oh, yes. Here it is. Here, I found it. Under no circumstances should anyone from Trump's DOJ be allowed to privately interview Ghislaine Maxwell. The conflict of interest is glaring. It stinks of high corruption. He tweeted this at 1:54 p.m. This was approximately 4 hours after they had done this. Great stuff, man. Why does she even need to give names? I thought they had mountains of evidence already from thousands of hours of literal dollar transactions. They do. There is a list compiled of people who are Jeffrey Epstein affiliates. It's out there. The very fact that they are they're talking to Ghislaine Maxwell is because they don't want the actual list to be released. It's that simple. And Democrats and anyone else should not let that go. Okay? There's footage, there's names, there's a paper trail. There are thousands of wire transfers that connect Jeffrey Epstein through illicit financial dealings to numerous high-ranking officials, heads of state, heads of intelligence agencies, and of course, even the fucking royal family, and also, you know, politicians and the like. So Donald Trump doesn't want that list coming out. So now the only way for you to get a crumb of information will be this heavily slanted Ghislaine Maxwell testimony, even though Ghislaine Maxwell herself has on numerous occasions lied about her involvement and lied about others' involvement even to protect other people like Prince Andrews.
Farmer, who testified against her at trial, questioned why Maxwell was granted a meeting with the Deputy Attorney General.
It's very disappointing that these things are happening behind closed doors without any input from the people that the government asked to come forward and speak against her in order to put her away. You know, there were so many young girls and women that were harmed by her.
The meeting with Maxwell comes as the Justice Department tries to quiet calls from Senate Republicans to release more information about Epstein and his interaction with high-profile figures.
I want all the information out.
Just put everything out, make it as transparent as you can.
Release the damn files.
The Justice Department said earlier this month it planned to release no additional information despite an earlier commitment to do so. The Wall Street Journal reports Attorney General Pam Bondi told President Trump in May his name was mentioned in the Epstein files multiple times, along with other high-profile people. Days before the article was published, Trump denied it.
Did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen.
Appearing in the files is not indicative of wrongdoing. The Journal reports Trump deferred to a decision by Bondi and Blanche to release nothing because the files also contain child pornography and information about victims. Blanche said he is seeking to learn from Maxwell whether anyone else committed crimes against victims, saying he will share what he learns from her at the appropriate time.
We're waiting to find out what was asked, how she responded, and whether Ghislaine Maxwell made a specific pitch for clemency. Rebecca?
A lot of open questions there, Aaron. Okay, thank you.
What are you hoping Todd Blanche gets out of his meetings with Ghislaine Maxwell?
Well, I don't know about the meeting. I know it's taking place, and he's a fantastic man. He's a great attorney, and people should really focus on how well the country's doing, or they should focus on the fact that Barack Hussein Obama led a coup, or they should focus on the...
Yeah, why don't you focus on things I want you to focus on, which is Focus on things I want you to focus on.
The fact that Larry Summers from Harvard, that Bill Clinton, who you know very well, and lots of other friends, really close friends of Jeffrey Summers, should be.
Oh, shit. I mean, he ain't wrong about this, by the way, for the record. He ain't wrong about this. But why didn't he say this from the jump? What was in there that he wanted to make sure would not be released? Was it his personal involvement? Was it the involvement of maybe a foreign state that he does not want being associated in this time?
Spoken about, because, you know, Jeffrey Epstein should be spoken about, and they should speak about them, because they don't talk about them, they talk about me. I have nothing to do with the guy.
Are you considering will you do any business deals with the UK?
Yeah, I'm going to meet with the Prime Minister right now. We're going to be over there in about 6 hours. We're meeting with the Prime Minister tonight. We're going to be talking about the trade deal that we made and maybe even improve it.
Are you considering clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell? Are you considering clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell, sir?
I saw homeless people sleeping right outside the gates of the White House. Are you concerned about that?
I think it's terrible, and we'll have them removed immediately. We do remove it. We've got to get the mayor to run this city properly. This city has to be run. You know, I have the right to take it over, and I think it's terrible. Where are they? Where did you see them?
Just right outside on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Near the Treasury.
Right across the Mafia Park near the Treasury. Have you heard about Todd Blanche's interview with Ghislaine Maxwell? And would you pardon or clemency for Ghislaine?
Well, I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to say is that Todd is a great attorney, but you ought to be speaking about Larry Summers. You ought to be speaking about some of...
Bro, he is fucking... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's like, dude. Please talk about what I want you to talk about. Giving a few names, but not himself. Yeah. Notice how the few names that he's giving are also, you know, ideological perceived enemies of Donald Trump. Awfully suspicious.
His friends that are hedge fund guys, they're all over the place. You ought to be speaking about Bill Clinton, who went to the island 28 times. I never went to the island.
Do you maintain you did not write a letter for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday?
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could.
Oh, yeah, totally. He doesn't know. He didn't do it. Yeah, I don't even know how to write or read. I am illiterate. Folks, believe me, I'm stupid and illiterate. Don't believe the lies. People say I draw. I've never written a draw. I never wrote a draw. I do not know how to write draw. It was the Otto pen. It must have been the Otto pen.
I could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot. All you have to do is take a look at the dossier, the fake dossier. Everything's fake with that administration. Everything's fake with the Democrats. Take a look at what they just found about the dossier. Everything is fake. They're a bunch of sick people. Where did you see the people laying outside?
Right across the street from Lafayette Park, sir, towards 15.
We'll take care of
it. Why are the journalists like, here are all of the homeless people that you would like, if you would like to kill them, there are homeless people here. Just go and, sick your forces on them.
What are the alternative methods to bring hostages home?
Well, we got a lot of them out, and it's I've always said those last 10 or 20 are going to be the toughest, because Hamas knows what happens when they don't have any bargaining chips, and they really broke a deal. They broke a deal, and you're going to have to do what you have to do right now. It's a terrible thing, and I always do that. I said when you get down to the last one, they're not going to be able to make a deal.
Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if she's cooperating?
It's something I haven't thought about. It's really something. It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
But you wouldn't rule it out.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
Trump blasts reporters to their face for making a very big thing about Epstein files.
No, I was never briefed. No.
Did you ask how? What are you hoping?
Yeah, he's lying about that. Saying he's never been briefed on the Epstein stuff is a bullshit lie. We already know from reporting from the Wall Street Journal that the DOJ actually was tasked with scouring through how he was mentioned. Not only the DOJ briefed him, the Department of Justice absolutely briefed him on his mentions, but they were tasked to find his name in the files. He also openly admitted that he was briefed on July 15th. And now he's saying he was not briefed at all on July 25th.
Ghislaine interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell. What are you hoping that they get out of that?
I really have really nothing to say about it.
I feel like a sweaty Nixon moment incoming. No, we are living in the post-Trump universe. There is no more Nixon. There have already been numerous Nixon moments with Donald Trump. There have been Nixon moments with Donald Trump in the first presidency. There have been Nixon moments with Donald Trump so far. The reason why it will never be perceived in the same way is because the normal standards of like shame and people like moving in a certain way where they care about the infallibility of institutions and the notion that these institutions are supposed to keep up a objective view on justice, it's gone. Nixon moments can only happen, at least if we're looking at like the public perception, right? Nixon moments can only happen if getting angry at Donald Trump, if the base of support is capable of getting angry at Donald Trump, if there are enough people within positions of power that still care about, I don't know, defending these institutions. I think it's done. I don't know what could happen. I don't know what could happen for like, what could Donald Trump be caught doing that would be a bridge too far? I genuinely don't know.
Is being talked to by a very smart man, by a very good man, Todd Blanche. And I don't know anything about the conversation. I haven't really been following it. A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons. But a lot of people have asked about pardon. This is just not a time to be talking about pardons. Todd will come back with whatever he's got. You're making a very big thing over something that's not a big thing. You should be talking about, if you're going to talk about that, talk about Clinton, talk about the former president of Harvard, talk about all of his friends, talk about the hedge fund.
Oh my God. Okay. He's soft launching. I'm serious. He's 100% soft launching what names we might hear from Ghislaine Maxwell as unindicted co-conspirators. I don't know to what degree. I don't know what kind of information she will reveal, because I don't think she's going to be like, yeah, Bill Clinton literally fucked children. I don't think she's going to say that. But I feel like he's leaking like what is going to come out from the Ghislaine meetings. But I mean, when you think about it this way, Trump uses broad tariffs as a way to bully people into submission. He does this with every lever of power that he has. So it almost makes sense why he could potentially use the Ghislaine testimony as also a way to bully industry leaders into submission, for example. Like, totally see him having side deals with like Leon Black or maybe other disgraced financiers, depending on like their commitment to Trump, and be like, do you want to be named in the Ghislaine files? Because I know you were there. I was there with you, right? And just use this as an opportunity to basically to shelter allies and even bring more incredibly powerful people onto his side, while simultaneously outing his ideological enemies. This way he can bully people like Bill Gates. He can bully hedge funds. He can bully all of these like financiers that have played a role in Jeffrey Epstein's schemes and Jeffrey Epstein's incredibly complex network of influence. What's the strat here? Bribe Ghislaine with reduced sentence if she names other people instead of himself? Yes. But even then, I don't think that he will be able to, I don't think that he can straight up name names like Bill Gates and then say like, oh, he was a pedophile. There's already tremendous connections between Bill Gates, Hillary Clinton, or not Bill Gates, sorry, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and Jeffrey Epstein, right? We already know that they are directly connected to one another long past the point of Jeffrey Epstein's criminal conviction for sex trafficking minors. So he can get away with like naming Bill Gates, but I don't think he can get away with like, or I keep saying Bill Gates. He can get away with naming Bill Clinton, but I don't think he can get away with saying that Bill Clinton was like literally directly involved sexually with minors. Bill Gates too, by the way, for the record. Bill Gates literally did meet with Jeffrey Epstein. We know that, okay? I don't know to what extent they can reveal like what kind of criminal acts that Bill Clinton was involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Because like I said, mutually assured pedophilia destruction, mutually assured destruction of pedophilia. There is that angle here.
Guys that were with him all the time don't talk about Trump. What you should be talking about is the fact that we have the greatest 6 months in the history of a presidency, according to a lot of people. And we had an amazing 6 months. And this is sort of an example of it. Now we're meeting with the European Union, having...
You think it's more than trafficking? I know it's more than trafficking. What do you mean? The real... Okay, listen to me. The most consequential stuff that people obviously understandably care about is the sex trafficking of minors. That understandably, it's the most severe of crimes. But if you want to know the full extent, the real meat and potatoes there is the finances. Because there are thousands of wire transfers between Jeffrey Epstein and numerous financiers, and perhaps even some other incredibly wealthy folk beyond like Wall Street CEOs and hedge fund managers and things like that. That is the meat and potatoes. That is the real shit. Connections to intelligence agencies, connections to foreign heads of state, connections to, American politicians.
We're also meeting with, as you know, the head of UK, Prime Minister, and I look.
We talked about this before, but there were 4,725 wire transfers totaling nearly 1.1 billion flowing in and out of just one of Jeffrey Epstein's bank accounts between the years 2003 and 2019. 4,725 on one bank account. That is 4,200 individual investigations that could be conducted. There's a paper trail. You can follow that paper trail to see what you discover.
Look forward to that. But we're meeting in terms of a deal. We're meeting with the European Union, and that would be actually the biggest deal of them all. I was never involved in that. I'm focused on making deals. I'm not focused on conspiracy theories that you.
Oh my God. Trump saying I'm not focused on conspiracy theories is crazy, brother. That's ridiculous.
You are. I mean, I watch you people. It's so sad. You ought to talk about the success of our country instead of this nonsense that you talk about over and over again.
That meeting Sandra just mentioned just wrapped up moments ago. Maxwell was escorted back to the prison from the courthouse in Tallahassee. Her attorney said they had a, quote, productive meeting with Blanche, but details of their talks still remain under wraps right now.
All right, Fox Team coverage is at the ready. Chief legal correspondent Shannon Bream is live here in New York City, standing by with analysis. But first, let's get to our justice correspondent, David Spunt. He's got the latest from Washington for us. So, David, what else did Maxwell's attorney say?
Well, he said a lot. We wish we could be in and hear what was said in the actual meeting. This meeting was a lot shorter than it was yesterday, but this was a two-day event. The highlight, though, it appears that her team wants a pardon. Watch.
We're going to take one day at a time. I know that's very cliche, but it's true because things are happening so quickly. We haven't spoken to the president or anybody about a pardon just yet. And you know, listen, the president this morning said he had the power to do so. We hope he exercises that power in the right and just way.
Watch. Kevin Spacey says Bill Clinton flew on Jeffrey Epstein's jet with young girls during a Clinton Foundation trip to Africa. Spacey says Clinton's presence around the girls put him at risk. Oh, my God. Oh. Again, I feel like these are breadcrumbs about what this, what the Ghislaine testimony will look like. There's a lot of pedophile infighting taking place right now.
Business leaders in London because he knew I was coming to the Old Vic. Do you know who I never asked for anything? Was Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't want to be around this guy because I felt he put the president at risk on that trip to South Africa because there were these young girls. And we were like, who is this guy? So I will say this.
There were young girls on those flights?
There were young girls on those flights, yeah. And that's been out. They've talked about it. But here's my point. There's a big difference between not remembering that I met some guy and some woman on a humanitarian trip where my focus was entirely on what we were there to do and not remembering whether I went to somebody's island. So I never went to Jeffrey Epstein's island. I did not know him, and I never saw him or her after that morning at Buckingham Palace. He didn't even come to Buckingham Palace.
Is it true that Prince Andrew sought your assistance and wanted you to testify that Ghislaine Maxwell was your guest, not his, during that Buckingham Palace tour?
I heard a report about that, but at no time did anyone ever contact me on.
Bro, Kevin Spacey coming out this comfortable. Kevin Spacey's definitely on the list. Yeah, no shit, he's on the list. What are you talking about? We know he is incredibly connected to both the Clintons and Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. We know that already. We also know that he was, there was a criminal trial that ended under mysterious circumstances with minor victims that ended under mysterious circumstances separate from Jeffrey Epstein. He's soft launching his public image again. Piers ain't that big, but it's big enough to check public opinion. Yeah. Yeah, one of his accusers died. Another one actually rescinded their testimony after one of the accusers died.
On his behalf. And as I say, I'm not friends with him. I never saw him after that day.
What do you think about what's happened to him?
I don't know anything about it. It's not, I'm not going to talk about someone else's scandal,
Russia, so they've settled on Carter Page, and in order to get surveillance.
The fuck is the rest of this? He's 3 of his accusers died in the same year. Ari Ben dies at 47, marking 3rd death this year of Kevin Spacey accusers. Author Ari Ben has died, marking the 3rd passing in 2019 of a person who publicly accused actor Kevin Spacey of sexual misconduct or assault. The 47-year-old, who was previously married to Norwegian princess Martha Louise, died by suicide on Christmas Day. Family spokesman Geir Hakkason told CNN, "It is with great sadness in our hearts that we, the very close relatives of Ari Ben, must announce that he took his own life today," the statement read. "We ask for respect for our privacy at this time to come." His death comes 2 years after he spoke openly on a Norwegian radio station about an alleged encounter with Spacey that transpired when the actor had hosted a Nobel Prize concert. "I have a little Me Too story about Kevin Spacey," Ben said, becoming one of the 15 individuals to come forward with disturbing claims about Spacey. "We were having a nice chat where we spoke about theater and drama in the little theater, The Wick, a theater in London. We had a good conversation sitting beside each other. After 5 minutes, he said, 'Hey, let's go out and have a cigarette.' Then he grabbed me under the table right in the balls." This was the 3rd death of a Kevin Spacey accuser in the same fucking year when they were all coming out. All right, let's get back to important things. So Alan Dershowitz, the prominent attorney who once represented both Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, is urging Congress to grant Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's longtime associate and convicted sex trafficker, full immunity in exchange for her testimony before lawmakers. Dershowitz argues Maxwell knows everything about Epstein's criminal enterprise and calls her the Rosetta Stone of the case, claiming such testimony could finally unravel key details about the financier's activities and connections with powerful figures. If Alan Dershowitz, who was incredibly connected to Jeffrey Epstein, who was Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer, who famously and very notoriously has actively been in legal trouble with other Jeffrey Epstein victims that have directly outed him, if he's saying Ghislaine Maxwell has reliable testimony and is the Rosetta Stone here, just know, considering that he is compromised, he knows for a fucking fact that Ghislaine Maxwell is not going to reveal any new information. And as a matter of fact, I suspect that that testimony will hold very little weight.
Treated unfairly for over 5 years now. If you looked up scapegoat in the dictionary, her face would be next to the definition, next to the dictionary definition of it. So, we're grateful.
Are they going to pay her for incorrect information? I mean, it's not like a direct payment.
For this opportunity to finally be able to say what really happened, and that's what we're going to do yesterday and today. She's keeping her spirits up as much as she can. She's one of the strongest people I've ever met. She's been in terrible, awful conditions for 5 years. We wouldn't keep animals the way she's been kept in prison. So, it's unbelievable that she can keep her spirits up this high, and we're proud of her. We just ask that folks.
I think the fact that she is one of the primary facilitators, and she is the only known major conspirator that hasn't died in prison under mysterious circumstances, evidence enough, at least, I'm speculating, but it's already suspicious enough. Don't say yet. I don't think this is a yet situation. I think what she will reveal will be, I guess, shocking enough for people to pay attention to, but not so shocking that it's like implicating other incredibly powerful individuals, because it won't be revealing the real meat and potatoes of this case. Do you see what I mean? The very fact that she's still very much alive and in prison implies that people know that she is playing ball. If you consider Jeffrey Epstein dying under mysterious circumstances and not actually committing suicide, or Jean-Luc Purnell dying in prison also under mysterious circumstances that they called suicide, implies that she is known to play ball.
Look at what she has to say with an open mind, and that's what Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has promised us, and everything she says can be corroborated, and she's telling the truth. She's got no reason to lie at this point, and she's going to keep telling the truth.
Yeah, she's so fearless.
And we're finished after...
She's so fearless. She's such a girl boss. I like using girl boss terminology when talking about a convicted sex trafficker of minors who was also a convicted rapist as well. A rapist, sex trafficker of minors. And this guy's like a real girl boss, real brave of her. Hashtag free spirit.
All day yesterday and today, Ghislaine answered every single question asked of her over the last day and a half. She answered those questions honestly, truthfully, to the best of her ability. She never invoked a privilege. She never refused to answer a question. So we're very proud of her. We're proud of how the process has worked over the past day and a half. I will say this, she has been treated unfairly for the past 5 years. She didn't get a fair trial. We're still appealing to the Supreme Court. We're going to be filing a reply in the Supreme Court on her cert petition on Monday. Remember, people have questioned her honesty, which I think is just wrong. Remember, a juror lied to get onto the jury, admitted to lying to get onto her jury. She did not get a fair trial. No prosecutor even mentioned her until Epstein died. So we feel that the process for Ghislaine has...
Oh, that Kevin Spacey clip happened last year? The one that we just watched? Oh my God, that's from last year. I mean, a lot of the Ghislaine a lot of the Ghislaine prison interviews, also on the Piers Morgan show, did happen last year as well. Is dude, I don't know what to say, man. This shit is actually insane. What an insane conflict of fucking interest here, dude. Like, this is, like, I cannot, like, you have an administration that is, like, actively seeking to cover up all of the investigation's details and using Ghislaine Maxwell as the primary testifier. And she has all the power and all the interest in seeking clemency, seeking a pardon, and her freedom from an administration that is known to engage in quid pro quo is hanging on her testimony. She has literally every reason to lie. Epstein's birthday album, also, there's additional details from Wall Street Journal. Epstein's birthday album included letters from Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and others. This is it. Jeffrey Epstein's birthday album included letters from Bill Clinton and also disgraced financier Leon Black. Now, we've talked about Leon Black a little bit. And the reason why we talked about Leon Black was because, like, the only thing that Leon Black is known for is being a Jeffrey Epstein affiliate with his own allegations of sexual misconduct. Lots of different sources using Bill Clinton's name front and center. Everyone's soft launching. Former President Wall Street billionaire were listed along with Donald Trump as friends in the 2003 book's table of contents, which named around 6 contributors. The biggest name was a past president rather than a future one. Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, was keen for Bill Clinton and other boldface names to submit letters for the special gift, according to people involved in putting it together. In the end, she was successful. The leather-bound album, assembled before Epstein, was first arrested in 2006 and included a page with a single paragraph in Clinton's distinctive scrawl. It's reassuring, isn't it, to have lasted as long across all the years of learning and knowing, adventures and illegible word. Don't know what the illegible word is. And also to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference, and the solace of friends. First of all, why is every former president writing like this to Jeffrey Epstein? They all use a very similar language. Also, childlike curiosity it's extra strange. A spokesman for Clinton declined to comment on the birthday message, which was reviewed by the Journal. He referred to the Journal to a previous statement that the former president had cut ties more than a decade before Epstein was arrested in 2019 and didn't know about Epstein's alleged crimes. Except you were walking your daughter, Chelsea Clinton, down the aisle as Ghislaine Maxwell was standing right there. And that was after you had, quote unquote, cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein. So maybe some ties were not cut. The former president was among around 6 people, including Donald Trump, Wall Street billionaire Leon Black, fashion designer Vera Wang, and media owner Mort Zuckerman, who ended up in the letters in the 2003 book, according to documents reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Yep, the Dersh is, of course, also on there. The letter bearing Trump's signature, which had the outline of a naked woman, was one of the more memorable pages, according to the people involved in putting the album together. Trump has called the letter a fake thing. The professionally bound birthday book had multiple volumes and included a table of contents that listed the contributions organized into groups. While many letter writers weren't famous, some categories held notable people. Clinton and Trump were listed under the Friends group, along with about 20 other associates such as Leon Black, Zuckerman, former Victoria's Secret leader Leslie Wexner, attorney Alan Dershowitz, and the late Jean-Luc Brunel, who ran a modeling agency. Jean-Luc Brunel, also literally arrested for sex trafficking of minors, who died in prison under mysterious circumstances. He wasn't just a guy who ran a modeling agency. Leslie Wexner is literally almost entirely responsible for Jeffrey Epstein's fortune, gave Jeffrey Epstein power of attorney, gave Jeffrey Epstein the New York mansion that he used. Okay? Alan Dershowitz was Jeffrey Epstein's friend and also was one of the named perpetrators. by Virginia Giuffre, one of the most notorious of victims of Jeffrey Epstein, and Alan Dershowitz as well. Jean-Luc Brunel, like I said, ran numerous modeling agencies and used those modeling agencies as a way to find new victims for Jeffrey Epstein, and was arrested for sex trafficking minors in his involvement with Jeffrey Epstein when he died under mysterious circumstances in prison. So these aren't just like regular guys. A business group included the late Alan Ace Greenberg and the late James Jimmy Kane. Both men worked at Bear Stearns, where Epstein was the investment banker. Was at the investment bank in the 1970s. Other people were grouped under categories such as science, Brooklyn, and family. Some of the messages were anodyne birthday wishes, but others were bawdy and made crude jokes about sex, according to the documents reviewed by the Journal. A letter from Nathan Myhrvold, a billionaire and former Microsoft executive, said he was sending photos from a recent trip to Africa. They seem more appropriate than anything I could put into words, said the letter, which ended with a typed Nathan. It was followed by photos of monkeys screaming, lions and zebras mating, and a zebra with its penis visible. What the fuck? Yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell got granted limited immunity by the Trump Justice Department. This is limited immunity for revealing details about other for the interview process. Chat. This isn't like additional immunity. Yeah, this is just that. This is just a rehashing of something we covered earlier today. Now, it's interesting that Trump is named alongside co-conspirators that we know are co-conspirators under the friend category. So just want to point that out. The friend category is the meat here, okay? Clinton and Trump were listed in the friends group. And I told you already the extent of the involvement of others in the friend group in this birthday book. Okay? A spokesman for Myhrvold said he doesn't recall the submission and that he's a wildlife photographer who regularly shares photos and writes about animal behavior. The spokeswoman for Myhrvold only knew Epstein because he attended TED conferences and was a donor to scientific research. The submission with Black's name had a handwritten poem and a rhyme scheme. With a rhyme scheme, the poem included acronym WFPC with an asterisk that said that it stood for Vanity Fair Poster Child, a reference to a magazine profile of Epstein that was in the works. 2 lines in the poem read, blonde, red, or brunette, spread out geographically. With this net of fish, Jeff's now the old man and the sea. It was signed Love and Kisses, Leon. Leon Black, the co-founder of Apollo Global Management, who, of course, a spokesman for Black, declined to comment on the letter. Black has said he met Epstein around 1996 and paid him for tax and real estate planning. Weird. Like, this guy is a finance guy himself. Why the fuck does he need Jeffrey Epstein's advice? He couldn't find other people to get tax advice from and real estate planning advice from? What is Jeffrey Epstein's real estate advice going to be? Hey, become friends with Les Wexner. And then Les Wexner will give you power of attorney and also will give you a fucking $30 million mansion for free. Wow, incredible advice. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Leon Black agreed to pay $62.5 million to settle Epstein-related claims, by the way. The private equity mogul struck a deal with the U.S. Virgin Islands to avoid a potential lawsuit over his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. This was back in 2023. The billionaire investor Leon Black agreed to pay $62.5 million to the U.S. Virgin Islands in January to be released from any potential claims arising out of the territory's 3-year investigation into the sex trafficking operation of the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, according to a copy of the settlement agreement. How the fuck do you settle with the U.S. Virgin Islands? Isn't that literally a criminal investigation? Like, what is this? You could just be like, hey, I'm giving you $1 billion. I'm giving $100 million to the Department of Justice. Please stop looking into my involvement with a notorious pedophile sex trafficker. That is crazy. Yeah, Black resigned from both Apollo Global Management and the Museum of Modern Art in the wake of sexual misconduct allegations. The previously undisclosed settlement came after the Virgin Islands reached a $105 million deal in November with Mr. Epstein's estate. The next month, the territory sued JP Morgan and Chase in federal court over the bank's 15-year relationship. A registered sex offender who killed himself in Manhattan jail in 2019. Killed himself, sure. The Virgin Islands government produced a settlement agreement with Mr. Black in response to a public records request by the New York Times. In January, representatives of the two parties held a private mediation setting session to settle claims, according to another document reviewed by The Times. The $62.5 million settlement followed that session. Mr. Black agreed to pay in cash, according to the settlement document. The settlement shows the extent to which Mr. Black, once a titan of the private equity industry, has gone to limit scrutiny of his decades-long social and business ties to Mr. Epstein. This is wild, Spacey. Oh, yeah, he does Frank Underwood threats. Yes. Yes, I remember this. This was when he was, in 2018, numerous victims of Kevin Spacey came out about his sexual misconduct. In 2019, 3 of them died. I believe by 2020, all of the cases had ended either because the victims had died or because they had rescinded their testimony after 3 of the alleged victims had died. This is before any of them died. He made this video.
I know what you want. Oh, sure, they may have tried to separate us, but what we have is too strong. It's too powerful. I mean, after all, we shared everything, you and I. I told you my deepest, darkest secrets. I showed you exactly what people are capable of. I shocked you with my honesty, but mostly I challenged you and made you think. And you trusted me, even though you knew you shouldn't. So we're not done, no matter what anyone says. And besides, I know what you want. You want me back. Of course, some believed everything and have just been waiting with bated breath to hear me confess it all. They're just dying to have me declare that everything said is true and that I got what I deserved. Wouldn't that be easy if it was all so simple? Only you and I both know it's never that simple, not in politics and not in life. But you wouldn't believe the worst without evidence, would you? You wouldn't rush to judgments without facts, would you?
No, this is not his natural speaking voice. He's playing Frank Underwood from the Netflix series House of Cards. This is after he was already off the show. And he's playing that character while alluding to this is after victims had already come out. Okay. And then his first response was to come out and be like, I'm gay, by the way. Like that was supposed to be the big revelation that I guess takes some of the attention away from him. I don't know. But he was like, I'm gay, by the way. Oh, these people are saying I'm a sex criminal. Well, guess what? I'm gay. And then he did this video on Christmas Day. Yes. Playing the role of his former Netflix show House of Cards, Frank Underwood, the president who like notoriously does murders and stuff personally. And then covers, like hides the murders that he does. And he's like cutting some Christmas ham or something. And he has a mug there that is the 1953 like coronation mug. Like I think he's like doing a shout out to the royal family here as well. This was his I'm gonna kill my accuser video, which ended up, his accusers did end up dying, by the way.
Did you? No, not you. You're smarter than that. Anyway, all this presumption made for such an unsatisfying ending, and to think it could have been such a memorable send-off. I mean, if you and I have learned nothing else these past years, it's that in life and art, nothing should be off the table. We weren't afraid, not of what we said and not of what we did, and we're still not afraid. Because I can promise you this. If I didn't pay the price for the things we both know I did do, I'm certainly not going to pay the price for the things I didn't do. Oh, of course, they're going to say I'm being disrespectful, not playing by the rules, like I ever played by anyone's rules before. I never did, and you loved it. Anyhow, despite all the poppycock, the animosity, the headlines, the impeachment without a trial, despite everything, despite even my own death, I feel surprisingly good. And my confidence grows each day that soon enough you...
Look. That is a mug. There's a coronation mug.
You will know the full truth. Wait a minute. Now that I think of it, you never actually saw me die, did you? Conclusions can be so deceiving. Miss me?
Kevin Spacey will be arraigned on a charge of felony sexual assault next month. Michael O'Keefe, the Cape and Islands District Attorney in Massachusetts, tells the Boston Globe that Spacey will appear January 7th at Nantucket District Court. The charge stems from an incident that occurred on the island back in 2016. The victim's mother, Heather Unruh, said last year that Spacey repeatedly stuck his hand down the pants of her 18-year-old son. The boy was eventually able to get away when the woman walked over to him while the actor was in the bathroom and said, "Run." At the time, Spacey was trying to convince the boy to join him at a party, said Unruh, who now hopes to find the mystery woman who she believes saved her son from a far worse fate. Anyway, but yeah, Mr. Black, Leon Black, 71, was forced to step down in early 2021 as chairman and executive of Apollo Global Management, the giant private equity firm he co-founded in 1990. A major art collector who made news for his $120 million purchase of a version of Edvard Munch's The Scream. Mr. Black also stepped down as chairman of the Museum of Modern Art in New York. The 4-page settlement said nothing in it should be construed as an admission of liability by Mr. Black. Benicia H. Velasquez, a lawyer with the Virgin Islands Attorney General's office, which negotiated the settlement, said, for the past several years, the Virgin Islands Department of Justice has made it a priority to support human trafficking victims and to enforce the law to prevent and deter human trafficking. Except for the fact that you can, I guess, like buy your innocence. Like it's a fucking civil claim or something. Like it just like doesn't make any sense.